So since I ranked every episode of SpongeBob's first season, today I'm going to be ranking every episode of the second season. I don't really have much more to say. Let's get into it. Hey! So the first episode is Squid's Day Off. Wait, these are not in order. Do I want them in order? Nah, this is more fun, I think. Okay, so Squid's Day Off is a really good episode, like really good. I'm debating. No, it's going in. Wait, can I grab it? Okay. Squid's Day Off is going in A tier because I think this episode has such an interesting story, and it's almost like a Ren and Stimpy plot, which I of course love. And just watching Squidward go crazy just by himself is like leagues above any Squidward torture episode that came after it, like season 4 and forward. Like, this is how you do a Squidward torture plot. You have him do it to himself. It's great. I love this episode. Procrastination. I mean, it's also going in A tier. Procrastination is a word that's kind of hard to pronounce, but it's an episode that also like a really good story. Like, these are kind of similar. It's funny that they started next to each other, where Squid's Day Off is like Squidward going crazy, Procrastination is SpongeBob going crazy. I mean, people always talk about how it's such a relatable episode, and it's like true. Like, the story is just so good, and it portrays SpongeBob procrastinating so well, and has some really interesting sequences with like his house setting on fire and stuff. It's a really unique episode, to be honest. Both of these two feel a lot more like Ren and Stimpy episodes. Life of Prime. I mean, S tier. Life of Crime is one of the funniest episodes of the whole show. You know, made a whole video about it. It has the funniest scene of the whole show, like 4 minutes of non-stop S tier jokes. This episode is so funny, so underrated. Like, it really should be talked about. It really should be talked about more. After that, we have Pressure. Pressure is a good episode. I like Pressure. I think I'm gonna for now put it in B tier though, just because we have so many great episodes here that I feel like I don't want to clutter like the top tiers just yet. Pressure has also a good story, like a good rivalry between SpongeBob and Sandy at first, and then Sandy and sea creatures. It's a funny one. You know, you have Patrick's iconic line. You have them going to the surface before the movie, which I mean, there's a lot of good gags in here. I might move it later, but we're keeping it in B tier for now. Welcome to the Chum bucket though, that's A tier. This episode is like a really heart something story. I wouldn't say heartbreaking, not like heart-wrenching, but heartfelt story. I think it has a good portrayal of Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob's relationship, with him, you know, gambling away SpongeBob, and then SpongeBob having to adapt to being at the Chum bucket, and Krabs having to adapt being without SpongeBob as a fry cook. And the song is really good. It has its funny moments at the Chum bucket. SpongeBob and Plankton have some really fun interactions. This one is definitely A tier for me. Imitation Krabs is B tier. Not that I don't like it, like obviously it's B, just like 4 tiers below it. I just feel like Imitation Krabs is not the funniest episode of season 2. It is a funny concept, and they do a lot of like fun stuff with it, like the ravioli formula song and stuff. And it's definitely the best of these types of Plankton episodes, because they redid this episode like 10 times after this. Like Plankton disguising as someone to get the formula, they really like that concept. But Imitation Krabs is it's B tier for me. It's a good one. Then we got I'm with Stupid, which is also B tier, I think. Is B tier or C tier? No, I'm gonna put it in B tier. You know, people always talk about this one being mean to SpongeBob, and like, yeah, it is, but it's really funny. Like, it's really, really funny. Like, I think Herb and Marge are like good foils to SpongeBob and Patrick here, because they play off each other really well, even though it's just bullying SpongeBob for being stupid, and it's just a funny episode. That's about it. I don't feel like this episode is nearly as bad as people make it out to be. Like the story, like yeah, SpongeBob was made fun of for a while, but it wasn't even Patrick's real parents, and his real parents show up, and they of course know that he's stupid, so it was all for nothing for like Patrick, so he doesn't even win in the end. And also Patrick literally forgot that they were playing along, so I mean, compare this to yet again like 10 plus episodes after this that did this but wrong. I think this is a good one. Shanghaied. I love Shanghaied. It's S tier. This might be the best special of the show. It's definitely the best like, what do you call it, like 1.5 length special, like not double length, because it's is it 16 minutes? It might be shorter to 20 with like the original endings and stuff, but that's not like included in the runtime. But Shanghaied, my favorite Flying Dutchman episode. You have SpongeBob, Squidward and Patrick along the ship, which is just, this episode is hilarious. Like there is so many funny moments in here, and I love the atmosphere of the episode. Like when I made my video about the Flying Dutchman's ship, this episode was like, I got to rewatch this episode closely, like, you know, pausing and looking around in the corners of his ship and stuff, and that's what really like reminded me like, oh, this episode is so good. S tier episode, maybe best special of the show. Something Smells, I'm gonna go with A tier. I feel like you could make a case for S tier, because yet again this episode is just so funny. Like SpongeBob and Patrick have like great comedic playoff, if you can say that, of each other in this one. You know, Patrick especially, this is one of the best Patrick episodes this season for sure. Like he gets so many good lines, and the plot is alright as well, but it's like it's a comedy. It's just a gag plot. Like SpongeBob thinks he's ugly, but he actually just smells like shit. Really good one. Squid on Strike. I think I'm gonna go B tier. This one is funny. It has a strong story, some like real social commentary and stuff. It's an episode I like. I don't have any problem with it. Again, B tier is like, it's high. I just feel like it's, compared to what else we have in the season, I think B tier is fitting for this one. Same goes for Gary Takes a Bath, which, you know, paired with Shanghaied, it's 7 or 6 minutes, something like that. And it's good for what it is. It's SpongeBob trying to get Gary to take a bath, and him like escaping him multiple times. And it's fun for its runtime. They do like some creative stuff. I like it. Dying for Pie. We're gonna put that in S tier, I'm pretty sure. S tier or A tier? I would say that Dying for Pie's story puts it in S tier because it's one of the most heartfelt stories of the whole show. Squidward thinking he killed SpongeBob is such a good concept. Reminds me of Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, but then it's the other way around. And it just creates a really interesting dynamic between the two. Like Squidward actually having to go along with SpongeBob stuff because he feels bad because he put a bomb in his stomach, and then the ending scene, the sunset or sundown. I don't remember, probably sunsets. Yeah, it's all around just fantastic. Big Pink Loser, also S tier. This is probably the funniest Patrick episode. Definitely where Patrick is the main character. Patrick starting to work at the Krusty Krab is just such a fun concept because, they have such good writing in season 2 that him just being stupid and not understanding how to do anything works every time because they do such varied jokes with it. You have the what we have in this episode. We have his this is Patrick, you have him with a jar, you have him sweeping the floor the wrong way. This episode is just straight up hilarious, all the way through. I'm Your Biggest Fanatic is C tier. Mainly because I don't like Kevin. This is definitely one of my least favorite pre-movie episodes because this one is just I'm with stupid but less funny. It's like SpongeBob getting bullied in that episode, but it's not as funny. And it's Kevin instead of Patrick, so it's worse. But still C tier because I think the story is good. I just don't particularly like the episode. The Fry Cook Games, A tier. Could debate S tier for this one as well. This is a really nostalgic episode for me. It's just fun all the way through. You have all these, Fry Cook Games, which are very... My arm just cracked. Which are very, varied. They're all food spins on Olympic Games, but each one is just really funny. And you also have the rivalry between Krabs and Plankton, and in turn SpongeBob and Patrick, with a really good ending. The story throughout is good because you have a rivalry between the two, kind of like in Big Pink Loser, but taken up a notch. And it's just a really good episode. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but there's a lot of really good episodes here. Artist Unknown. Probably gonna put this one in B tier or A tier. I'm gonna put it in A tier because I like the story that much and I love the setting. It's SpongeBob and Squidward being alone in an art class, and the gags are really, really funny. What they do with this concept is great. I love the art critic as well. It's a really, really simple episode. It's just, the whole episode is just this art lesson for SpongeBob from Squidward. That's all this episode is. But it, it does what it needs to do, which is just fill the episode with really funny gags and concepts, I guess. Yeah, A tier. The Smoking Peanut, I think I'm putting it in B tier. This one is really forgettable. I think even if I got better at naming the episodes and wasn't sick doing it, I think this one I would probably not remember it. Not that it's bad. I don't even think this episode itself has anything to do with it. Probably just me. But the Smoking Peanut has a great story. My favorite part is probably Patrick as the investigator. That's by far the most like hilarious moment in it, when he he's him getting arrested, and he's like what he says after that. And I also think the mystery works really well, because you truly don't know who like upset the clan. Like, it is a mystery until the end when it's revealed, and then it all makes sense. I'm actually debating putting this one up in A tier as well, but I'm gonna save it for later in that case. Sailor Mouth. Sailor Mouth is probably B tier as well for me. Nah, it's A tier. For me, it's just like this episode, I would say like overplayed, if that makes sense, because, you know, the whole concept of the characters in SpongeBob swearing has been so overdone after this, you know. And you have people like, you have like YouTube poops, and I just don't, I at this point, I don't find just them cursing that funny anymore. But the episode is good, and I can't fault it for me like having outside stuff affecting it. Still think it's funny, just don't think them swearing is like the most hilarious thing ever after all these years. Here's an episode that don't really can be affected by like being overdone and stuff, because Band Geeks is can I move up? Shit, I can't move up, I need to scroll before grabbing it. Okay, Band Geeks is easily S tier. Made a video recently about this one as well. So legendary, like the story, the song, the jokes, like this is easily S tier, easily one of the best episodes of the show, like easily. So iconic, and for such good reason. The song performance at the end is fantastic. Squidward's story throughout the episode is also fantastic, and the jokes, like the whole every practicing scene just has so many good jokes. Legendary episode. Krusty Love. Are we throwing it in B tier? Probably B tier. I like Krusty Love. I think it's a fun dynamic with SpongeBob, Krabs, and Puff, and it's my favorite like appearance of Krabs and Puff dating. You know, there's a certain season 14 episode that certainly doesn't do it as well as this. It's very funny, but no, I feel like this episode is funny, but not funny enough to be up, in A tier or S tier, if that makes sense. Like, the jokes are good. It's a fun pair up or triple up. It's a funny plot as well, with Krabs trying to date SpongeBob's boating teacher. Like, it's a cute episode. It's B tier. I'm gonna put it there. Same with Prehibernation week. Prehibernation week is a good episode. It's just not my like personal favorite of the season or anything. I think Sandy can be a bit annoying in this one, but it's made up for with some really good jokes. My favorite being Patrick going to his house and all the ice being under it. But there's also like the guy pretending to be SpongeBob after being like shaped into a box, and the obstacle course or whatever it is and stuff at the beginning. It's like, I like the visuals in this episode. I like what's on, like we see on screen. There's some really creative stuff here. But yeah, B tier. Wormy, B tier as well. Wormy is good. Oh, Wormy is good. My favorite part of the episode is probably when they are actually in the tree dome. It's fun seeing like the chaos of Bikini Bottom as well, like being destroyed by this butterfly, and Sandy coming back to it. The close-up is horrifying, but like it can't really affect me anymore. Like, I've seen it so many times. Yet again, like, it's a good episode, but similarly to the last ones, like Krusty Love and Prehibernation Week, I feel like these episodes are... this episode, Wormy, is not the funniest. We're gonna keep up the beat here with the Squirrel Jokes, because I think it's B tier. I think the moral of the story is good, even though it can be misconstrued and stuff. It's a bit weird at times, but Wormy is... no, not Wormy, what am I talking about? Squirrel Jokes has a good story. It utilizes its characters well, with like Sandy and SpongeBob especially. And, you know, you really feel with Sandy in this one, and her like trying to get SpongeBob to understand, and he eventually does by the end, even though maybe the moral is not the best, you know, it's still something, but it's basically, I mean, we have a culture shock. I think that episode is a lot better than this one. Patty Hype is A tier. Really like Patty Hype. Very, very underrated. Probably one of the like coziest episodes of the whole show, especially after season 1. I just love the idea, like the concept of this one. Like SpongeBob, after being rejected by Krabs and Squidward for his idea, he goes to Patrick, and you know, there's that hilarious scene, and then they start their own like business selling these rainbow patties, pretty patties, and you know, people love it. They're super successful. Krabs, of course, comes back because he's really an antagonist in this episode, and I really like how the story resolves itself with Krabs doing like literally not even doing something that bad to SpongeBob. It's not like he's trying to trick him, or he's kind of trying to do it, but it's not like he steals his idea from him. He trades it for the Krusty Krab, which SpongeBob of course always wanted, and now with the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob is happy, and Krabs, the plan backfires on Krabs, which is like, you know, he deserves that. So yeah, a really good episode, Patty Hype. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy free. This one, I need to move it up like this. It's S tier. This is my favorite Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode. Easily the funniest to me. Patrick in this episode especially, like Patrick in season 2 is just on fire. But his scenes with Man Ray, you know, his scenes with SpongeBob before that, you know, the setting of the episode I also really like, being set in the Mermaid. And it also, you know, it's like our first episode that really gives us anything about Man Ray, which is cool. But yeah, all the way around comedy gold. Like this episode is fantastic, honestly. Best Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode, definitely S tier. Survival of the Idiots is... nah, I'm putting it in B tier, mainly because I feel like I'd have it on the same level as this episode instead of this. Survival of the Idiots is also hilarious. You also have SpongeBob and Patrick in this one, but with, you know, the hibernation Sandy. And I really like the snow in this episode. It's a really good vibe in it, even though like it becomes really scary after a while. Like I remember when I first watched this, I was like, probably the first few times I watched this, I was super scared of Sandy in it, because she's really intimidating. And yeah, it's a really good dynamic with SpongeBob and Patrick being really stupid, especially Patrick, and then Sandy being, you know, a lot more aggressive than usual, and yeah, horrifying. Like, yeah, great episode. Bubble Buddy, I'm gonna throw that one in B tier. Never really cared that much about Bubble Buddy. I never thought about how Bubble Buddy and Gary Takes a Bath both have like bubbles in their title card, and a really similar background, both like blue. But Bubble Buddy is I like the story. I think it's like a good one, like SpongeBob being really careless because he values, like, literally values this somewhat sentient bubble over, like, you know, Scooter's life, for example. Even though that's more on Bubble Buddy than Scooter, but like still, he dies in this episode. It's still confusing if Bubble Buddy is alive or not. I mean, the sequel to this episode kind of explains that, but that came out a whole while later, so I don't know. I don't think they thought of like that when they made this, but yeah, I feel like the episode it can be a bit annoying, and that's why it's in B tier. It's also not like the funniest episode ever, but you know, it's season 2, so it still has its moments. Christmas Who is A tier. I don't like it quite as much as Shanghaied, which is yeah, those are the 2 specials this season, so I guess it's the weakest special, but it's not really saying much. Christmas Who is, as a like Christmas special, it's fantastic. Them learning about Christmas, and like the story in this one is so good. Like, you feel so bad for SpongeBob, and then Squidward, like, it's a really good Squidward appearance. Like, I really like how he is portrayed here in this episode in general. A bit similar to Fools in April, I guess, but he's a bit less mean in this one. It's also really funny. Not all the way through, like, it focuses a bit more on the emotion later, but I like the scene at the Krusty Krab when they are like writing their wishes, their wish lists, and SpongeBob is telling everybody about Christmas. And really cozy episode, you know, should be like, yeah, certified Christmas classic. Now we don't have that many left. What is it? 11. Squidville. Let me grab it. It's A tier. Oh, another really good Squidward appearance. This one really takes a look into his like psyche, and how he's probably never gonna be happy for more than like a short while. Why does the title card look like this? Doesn't that say like Squidville, not Squidville? Because it's 2. Jesus, I had some. I had like a crumb or something on my computer screen, so it separated. I don't know what I'm. Yeah, it looked like 2 I's, but it's 2 L's. Okay. Anyway, funny episode. I really like SpongeBob and Patrick trying to get him back, but more than anything, I like the story, and Squidward ruining his own utopia is really poetic, I guess, because it's not really his utopia, you know. He's never going to be happy. That's like what this episode is telling us. Not even among people who are exactly like him. Yeah. A tier. Same with The Secret Box. That one's also A tier. The Secret Box is hilarious. Like, the concept alone is kind of, you know, very simple, but they do so much with it. There's so many like different gags, and Patrick is really funny in this one, and it's kind of an intriguing episode. Is that the right word? Like, suspenseful, because when like SpongeBob breaks into Patrick's house, like, that shit is tense. Like, I really like that scene, and I like the episode as a whole. Very funny, and the ending is a bit mean to SpongeBob. You know, he kind of didn't deserve that, but yeah. Next we got Your Shoes Untied, which I'm probably gonna throw it in. No, I'm gonna put it in A tier. It's a really interesting episode. Like, it's kind of teaching kids how to tie their shoes, which is like, that's not something that happens really often in SpongeBob, like actually teaching something. But the episode is very funny. Like, I did not know how to tie my shoes for the longest, so I can relate. The song is just amazing. With like the music video and everything, it's amazing. Wait, music video. Now I'm confusing shit. I'm pretty sure I'm confusing. No, because it's the loop-de-loop song, right? But I think I'm gonna look up. How do I do this? I gotta look up what's actually like the visuals, because I tend to confuse like this with the song from from SpongeBob's birthday. The fuck is it called? Party Pooper Pants. So I'm gonna look this up. Your Shoes Untied. Gonna go here, and then I'm gonna scroll down till we get to the song. But I can talk about it meanwhile. This episode is a bit, it can be a bit annoying, I guess, but I don't find it annoying. I find it like really funny. There's a lot of different situations in this one that's like they really pulled off. Oh, okay. Now I'm seeing like the images here. This is like the music video for Loop de Loop, and I really like the visuals in this whole episode. They do some really creative stuff. It's it's funny. It's funny as well. I'm gonna say that A tier fits. Grandma's Kisses. I would say C tier, but it's B tier because it's actually funny. I like SpongeBob's grandma. Like, episode is way too mean. I agree with that. Especially the ending feels a bit unjust, undeserved. But yeah, I find it funny. SpongeBob and Patrick have a good dynamic here, whereas Patrick just immediately turns into a baby after going there to back up SpongeBob. Like, Squidward is a dick though, and like the rest in Bikini Bottom as well. Could probably be A if the story was executed a bit less rude. But yeah, B tier for Grandma's Kisses. Jellyfish Hunter, I'm gonna say B tier as well. I feel so bad for the jellyfish in this one, because Mr. Krabs literally like tortured them to death. Like, this is a kind of graphic imagery in his factory here. But I do like the story. I don't think this episode is really that funny, which is what drags it down. But the story is really good. It's really a dark episode, not really talked about a lot. But Krabs is really a villain here, and I like how the episode resolves itself with Krabs getting, definitely getting punished. Still a good episode, even though I don't find it that funny. Sandy, SpongeBob and the Worm. I'm gonna put that in B tier as well. While I think this episode has its moments, yet again not as funny as some of the other episodes here. Highlight definitely being the meeting they have in the Krusty Krab, which is just so funny. Like, all the characters gather in the Krusty Krab. Like, imagine there's I don't know, a giant monster in town, and just everyone goes to a McDonald's to like discuss what to do with it. But yeah, Patrick is funny there, like everyone is funny there, and but I just don't think like the episode itself, like them actually going to stop the worm, is that funny. Yeah. Graveyard Shift. I'm gonna grab it so I can get it all the way up. I can't, but it is going all the way up. It's S tier. Graveyard Shift, also like for sure one of the best episodes of the whole show. One of my personal favorites. It has the atmosphere, it has the story, it has the suspense, and it has the comedy. Like, definitely has all of those. I love SpongeBob and Squidward just being alone at the Krusty Krab for the most part, because there are still customers there, but like them being open 24/7 don't really work out that well, because for the most of the episode it's really not that many people there, and then there's no one there except for them. So like, why? Yeah, not the best decision from Mr. Krabs, but for the episode, it was a great decision. This episode is phenomenal. Bossy Boots, I'm gonna throw that in B tier. I feel like Bossy Boots is kind of a chill episode, but I'm not really the biggest fan of like the new owner of the Krusty Krab-esque plots, because they have done it a lot. She's not a new owner, but she basically is, because she like changes the whole Krusty Krab up. But it is the first time this happens, so you know. The episode is pretty funny. There's some good jokes. I like the redesigns of the Krusty Krab and stuff. Visually, it's good. The story is alright. Not the biggest fan of Pearl, but like the episode works. This episode though, Frankendoodle, that is going in S tier. Frankendoodle is hilarious from start to finish, and really tense as well. Well, I always tend to do that. Really tense as well. Frankendoodle has the suspense of like Frankendoodle actually being a like menace and a threat. But every scene is hilarious. Like there are so many good gags. Patrick is funny in this one. SpongeBob is funny in this one. Frankendoodle and the other drawings are funny in this one. Squidward getting like beaten with his head, I guess. Like he's being used like as a hammer by Frankendoodle, just bashing his head in the ground. That's funny. I like the concept a lot. It's really creative. Definitely S tier. Like what a great episode. Now we got 2 episodes left, and they are, No Free Rides is going in B tier. Never really cared that much for No Free Rides. It's not bad, but I feel like I like the car chase. Like I think the episode picks up after they start driving the car and like fighting each other and stuff, like Puff and SpongeBob. But I don't think everything up to that is that great. Although, I mean, it's kind of funny when like what I learned in boarding school is like that stuff is kind of funny. But yeah, the car chase is really intense. The episode is funny. Nah, I'm keeping it in B tier. And I'm putting Dumped in B tier as well. Dumped has a really good story. Really, yet again, gonna use this word. Heartfelt, but this one is actually like heartbreaking. Like the scenes of like SpongeBob missing Gary and stuff is like that. It's sad. I think this episode is probably better than I have seen this snail. Have you seen this snail? Although Dumped, that episode might be more sad, but like I think Dumped it's a shorter episode, so it doesn't really have the time to build up to that. But what brings Dumped down, like it could be an A tier episode if it was a bit funnier. There are good jokes, but it's not that funny. But I do like the story, and the conclusion being that Gary only wanted a snack and wasn't really like friendly with Patrick because of him, just because he had snacks in his pocket. It's a good twist that also makes the episode feel a bit less mean to SpongeBob, because like the episode is rough for bro before that. Yeah, that's all the episodes. Am I moving anything up? It was either Pressure or the Smoking Peanuts. I think I'm keeping them. Krusty Love as well. I like this list. Yeah. Let me know in the comments what episodes were like wrongly praised. I can't talk today. Wrongly placed. And yeah.